How's it going, everybody? I know it's been a super long time since I posted any video content here on YouTube, and even though I haven't been posting, I've been still heavily involved in the Pokemon hobby, in the Pokemon franchise. I'm still very active on Instagram, of course. I wanted to take the time to just come here and just really express how I've been feeling about Pokemon the last, I'd say, maybe 4 or 5 years, and it has been one hell of a ride and one hell of a journey we've seen of Pokemon over the last, I'd say, 5 years, especially since COVID hit. And I won't make this video very long, but I really just want to express the sadness that I've seen across the community, across the games, across the cards, across just the Pokemon franchise as a whole, and just how much it has changed in just a couple of years. We rewind back to 2020 and there was a huge boom, especially in the TCG market for Pokemon cards, and especially if you're an avid collector, it was really great because, myself included, you were able to profit a good amount of money for these cards. But the market has leveled out at a certain point, but now we're starting to see prices that are significantly higher than what they were during COVID. And whether those prices are warranted or not, again, this is a collector's market. Collectors will pay whatever they're willing to pay for a card, so that's what generates the prices for these things. But when we see brand new booster boxes, brand new sets coming out, and the booster boxes are starting price at $250 to $300, it is absolutely absurd for brand new cards that are massively printed to be charged this amount of money. And of course, scalpers are a big reason why these prices are the way they are. Because it is almost impossible to get your hands on any of this merchandise because they are not available to locally walk into a store and be able to buy them right on the spot. Why that makes me totally upset is because, as a Pokemon fan since the beginning, having that feeling of walking into a card store, seeing packs, being able to buy a pack and walk out and opening those cards for the first time is one of the most enjoyable parts of the hobby and most enjoyable parts about Pokemon in general. And for kids growing up that are wanting to get into Pokemon and be in the midst of all the fun and action that's going on, it's almost impossible for them and their parents. It is almost unaffordable to purchase Pokemon cards for kids the way it used to be back in the day. And I know inflation and things change. I don't want to sound like an old head when it comes to this stuff, but it's true. And it's just very hard to see grown adults like myself, and I'm not including myself in this situation, but to run and cause a muck across the world just to get Pokemon cards to make a small profit off of them is just absolutely absurd and just makes absolutely no sense to me. And I'm hoping that at some point that this market will level back out and things will become more affordable for those that aren't able to obtain most of these cards. Of course, Pokemon cards are only part of the franchise, and honestly, out of the cards and the games and everything, the games are really where I spend most of my time when it comes to Pokemon. And it's just sad to see that the games have also been very mediocre. At best, I'd say the Switch era of Pokemon has probably been my least favorite per se. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee were a fun little distraction, and we did have a brand new Pokemon Snap, and Pokemon Sword and Shield I think was pretty good. But then we had games like Scarlet and Violet, which now when you play it on the Switch 2, if you have a Switch 2, is a significantly different game performance wise. But there was moments of that game where I was playing it and I just was like, this doesn't even feel like Pokemon. Like, where is that sense of enjoyment and entertainment and me wanting to sit down and play for hours and hours and hours and not stop? It was not there. I did feel that when they released Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is still in my top 5 favorite Pokemon games of all time. And that was the step in the right direction for Pokemon, I think, in terms of gameplay, in terms of storytelling, in terms of just exploration and adventure, that sense of wonder. And they made you feel like you were living in that world, regardless of the limitations that it had. But now we fast forward to present day with Pokemon Legends ZA. Boy, this game was tough. I tried my absolute hardest to enjoy it, and I did. There was moments of the game I enjoyed. I still invested 100 and something plus hours in the game. Shiny hunting is still fun, of course, post game, but I can't help but admit that that is probably one of the worst overall Pokemon games that I think I've ever played. And there's a ton of people that are going to disagree, and that's totally fine, but there's a lot of people saying these are the best Pokemon games ever made. And if you strip away the Pokemon brand, the Pokemon themselves, any of the lore and the story that revolve around Pokemon out of that game and replace it with a generic premise, that game is one of the most boring games you will ever play. The only reason why the game is tolerable, the only reason why the game is enjoyable is because it has Pokemon in it. The gameplay loop is fun in the beginning. The new battle style is enjoyable for the most part, but I am a competitive battler, so I will stick to the turn-based style any day. But it's just a rinse and repeat of battle and day and night cycles, and there's just so much limitation in the game that it just does not feel enjoyable, and all of it is just tedious, mundane, busy work that you're doing the entire game. And this is very present in the DLC. And typically, like when Sword and Shield dropped their DLC, I was playing that thing ridiculously. 2 new islands to go explore, new Pokemon, you know, it was so much fun. But the DLC for Legends EA is crap, to be honest with you. The only selling point for this is obviously the new Megas, and me being me, I'm one of those people that, of course, I have to have the new Megas, and they have Mega Raichu X and Y, and as one of the biggest Raichu fans out there, I had to get it. They got me on that one. I gotta say it, they got me on that one. But other than that, it is a bare bones, rinse and repeat game loop that is just not enjoyable. And I've beaten the main story of the DLC, and there's a ton of side missions and a ton of other wormholes to go through, and I don't feel like I have the excitement to continue to play. I lost interest. I'm like, this feels like a chore now to go and catch the rest of them, to fill up the decks. And filling the decks is one of my favorite things. No matter how many times I do it, how many generations I do it, is one of my favorite things to do. And I just don't feel like it's as fun or enjoyable. And I'm hoping that with Generation 10, and if you follow rumors and leaks, it seems like they're going the right path that Pokemon needs to go, which is the voice acting, the adventure, the fun and excitement that the game should be bringing for the Switch 2. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But this is just a quick little peace of mind that I feel like I just wanted to get out there, and you know, just hope that the franchise as a whole just sees a better year in 2026 as we close out. And you know, I do hope to continue to make content. I still make, hopefully start to post more regularly. So with that, that's Axel signing out, and I hope you all have an amazing holiday season and a great year for 2026.